Okay, salam alaikum, this is video 9. Okay, so after Set put his brother in the coffin, right? Remember, humanity's been put in a sarcophagus, right? And cast out into the Red Sea, right? And made a corpse, right? They've been put in the coffin, tricked in the coffin by their name, right? Using that capital name, right? They've been decapitated, right? And placed in the coffin, their soul repressed, right? And because their soul is repressed, and they can't claim themselves because their soul is inside of a coffin. A dead body can't claim itself, right? It has to have somebody, it has to have a family member claim it, right? But because nobody claimed that coffin, and when the person was born, that birth certificate name was advertised in the newspaper, they remained unclaimed, so the Vatican claimed it, right? And now it's part of their corporation, right? It's part of their graveyard, right? The Vatican's a big graveyard, all them corpse. The banking system is a graveyard, right? For all those corpse, right? Okay, so they're all in the Red Sea, right? The Red Sea being the woman, the whore, right? The bloody, the menstrual, right? The menstruation, right? The Red Sea. Okay, so he was cast in the Red Sea, the Nile. The Nile represented the Red Sea, right? Okay, so Set cast his brother in the Red Sea. Okay, then his sister went to claim the body, right? Like the mother is supposed to claim her child's body when is given a birth certificate, right? And she's supposed to go claim the certificate, the death certificate, right? But she don't claim it, so the Vatican claims it, right? Because the soul has been repressed inside the death certificate in the sarcophagus, right? Okay, but she don't claim it, so the Vatican claims it and uses the corpse and insures it, right? So it don't get lost, right? Okay. Like Osiris's body, right? So his sister Osiris, electromagnetic energy, goes and claims the body, her brother, her direct energy, right? Go claims it, her twin brother, right? Was it her twin brother? Should have been her twin brother, but it's her brother, right? But it's supposed to be her twin brother. Okay, so she goes and claims it. She brings it back to Egypt, Lower Egypt or Upper Egypt is one of the two, because Egypt was divided too, right? Okay, so she brings it back. And then, okay, so Set gets wind of it. Set represents Saturn, but we're going to get to the story of Saturn, how it reflects this story too. So he sees she brought the body back, so he cuts it up in 14 pieces, right? And he distributes those 14 pieces throughout the land, right? She finds all 13 body pieces except for his phallic, right? His regenerative parts, okay? So therefore, that's his regenerative parts. He's unable to resurrect himself. He's able to he can't regenerate a nation, right? So therefore, but Set takes over the nation. Satan controls the world, right? Okay, why did it say Satan controls the world? Because what happened, remember, okay, now when Set distributes those 14 pieces, right? Osiris can't find himself, right? He can't put himself together, like the universe can't put itself together. It can't undo time, right? It cannot make itself one part again. Okay, after Allah divided it into 14 pieces, the sun being the 14th piece, it cannot put itself back together. The universe was fragmented. It can't make itself man and woman again. It has to be just it can't just make itself direct energy again, or the magnetic energy is divided from the direct energy, so it can't become just one ball of energy again, right? No, Allah brought order to it, right? So man can't do that to himself. Osiris couldn't do that to himself, right? And Isis couldn't do that for him because she couldn't find the missing parts, so she couldn't put the whole universe together again, right? And therefore Osiris could not regenerate himself, right? So if Osiris can't regenerate himself, then he can't build a nation, right? Because he don't have a phallic, right? And if he don't have a phallic, he's made a woman, right? He's made the hermaphrodite, not hermaphrodite, but he's made he's made a woman, right? Because only a woman doesn't have a phallic, right? So now they use Osiris to represent Baphomet, right? Baphomet, the Mendes, right? Out of Egypt, right? Okay, so she can't find the phallic. Okay, so Osiris representing the black man, representing the universe, representing the only man, right? The first man was divided like the universe, right? And distributed throughout all the other cultures of the world, all the other nations, right? All the other nations have a story like Osiris and Set and all this other, okay? And a holy man, a holy woman, and an evil, right? Okay, they have that story because it represents Osiris and Set and Isis and the story of creation, right? Okay, and so when Set cut up the body of man, right, distributing the black man to every other nation, right, it's like he's creating new nations, new constellations on earth, new religions, right? So everybody wants to keep their version of religion. Oh, this is my religion. This didn't come from Egypt. This didn't come out of Egypt. Like hell, it didn't come out of Egypt. It came out of Egypt. It came out of Mesopotamia. It came out of Babylon. It came out of all that, because all of religion is one. Because it's all based upon the creation of life, the creation of the world, the creation of the universe. It's just reenacted. It's just what? Falsified. No, it's just corrupted. It's that's why they don't want you to learn about astrology. They don't want you to learn about astronomy. That's why they hid that 13th planet, or that 13th constellation, right? That's why they made it 12. That's why they made the leap year. That's why they changed the calendar to a Julian calendar, Gregorian time, right? So you wouldn't have accurate time, so you would know where you come from, right? So and that's why they keep racism alive, so that everybody will hate the black man, right? The original man, so that they can keep that false, their version of creation alive. They can keep their false version of reality alive, because they took the knowledge of creation as it represents a black man, divided in half, dismembering the body, distributed around, let's say, each constellation. Each nation gets a piece of that pie, that fake religion, right? Each one representing a different planet, right? Each one getting a piece of the pie, like Christianity has Neptune and Virgo, right? Or Mercury, right? Representing it, the bread and this, right? Okay, when in reality it's still a part of universal spiritual worship. That's why the Universal Church, the Vatican, is called the Universal Church, because it represents all pieces of pie. It has the whole pie. That's why he wants to call himself the Papa. He wants to look. That's why he wears the hat of Egypt, because he wants to look like he's the Pharaoh. He's the king of Egypt, right? Of the body. He has the body, right? Okay. So when they Set distributed the planet, the body parts, right? It's like the dividing man into the constellations, and each nation has a piece of that body. Each nation represents a piece of that body, that godly body, that one man. The black man's body was divided. That's why they don't want the black man to have no power, right? Because they don't want him to step into his power, because what he represents, the universe, right? He represents that thunderbolt, right? He represents that sun, that masculine energy, right? He represents all masculinity, and they don't want that, right? They want to say, we are the ones, we represent this, we invented it, this is our religion, when all religion is one. That's why the Universal Church, as I said, represents universal, okay? And even the universe, the constellations, right? That's why they got that big old thing called Lucifer, right? That observatory, planetary observatory in Arizona, I think it is, called Lucifer, right? Looking at the skies when the Nephilim is going to return, right? Okay, so Set divided his brother into 14 pieces, distributed them around the earth, right? So every nation could have a piece, right? Every nation could have a piece of that man. So when you go to the church and you have a piece of the body, you having a piece of the black body. You having a piece of the constellation. You having a slice of the pie, right? And then you're drinking the blood of the woman, right? Because you're drinking the blood of the Holy See, right? The Vatican. The Holy See of the woman, right? The menstrual, the cycle, which all life proceeds from, out of the black hole, right? Okay, so they've given it to you, but they're giving it to you in their way, in a corrupt way, one that empowers them and keeps them empowered, right? Okay, so they're trying to give you a perverted way of time, a story of time, creation, humanity, and all this way to perceive it from a perverted perspective, right? So that's why I say time was perverted too. Astrology was perverted. The astronomy is perverted too. That's why NASA won't even give the truth all the time. That's why they just now coming up with the so-called 13th planet, right? Which is bullshit. They knew it was 14 all the time, because Set cut the body up in 14 pieces, right? Okay, but didn't give back the phallic, right? He cut out the phallic, was cut off, and the phallic remained hidden, right? And consumed by a catfish, cat, pussy, in the pussy, right? Okay, so that's, if a black man want to find his fish, his phallic, look in the black pussy. That's where he gonna find his phallic, right? Okay, because it's in the catfish, right? Okay. Cat meaning pussy, fish meaning woman, water, right? Okay, the starfish. Okay, it was thrown in the water it was thrown in the water. Okay, the Holy See. Okay, now, as I said, the man will divide it 14 pieces, distribute those 14 pieces, but that phallic Okay, they gave it back to the woman where it belongs. They put it hid inside the woman, right? And what does the Baphomet represent? Mindy's inside the woman, right? Mindy's inside the star upside down. So the phallic is in woman, but as long as he don't look inside his woman, he's severed from his heart. He ain't gonna find his phallic. He ain't gonna find his manhood. He's not gonna find his strength. He's not gonna find his woman. Only the punk, sissy, man's gonna find his woman, because he the one running around talking about, yes, ma'am, whatever you want, baby. I'll do whatever you want, whatever time you want it. You want me to jump? How high? You want me to sail you around the world? I will do it. If you want me to carry you through the sleet and snow? I will do it. As long as you keep my phallic warm. Okay? So that's where you to look for your phallic in your woman, not the asshole of Baphomet. Okay? So excuse me. So that's why he put that phallic in the Red Sea and turned it upside down, so you will never recognize it again, never build your nation, right? Okay. So he distributed all the other body parts around all parts of the world, right? And then all the other nations taking a piece, China, Asia, Europe, all these different nations taking a piece, saying, oh, this, okay, let's go, mythology, okay, with mythology. And then they convert this Big Bang, okay, dividing the universe into 2 spheres and 12 constellations, dividing Osiris and from the woman, all right, through the Babylonian worship, okay, of a male, of the phallic, right, only, right, dividing the male from the woman, because in the Quran it says that the Babylonians came and taught magic, right, how to come between man and woman. So they divided man from woman. Now we just got male phallic worship, right? Okay, not worshiping, not observing the feminine aspect of the universe as well, right? And that's why the universe is so hard, so many wars, right? Okay, so insensitive, so uncaring, so watch children starve, watch flies all around their mouth, but not give a care, right? Okay, because it has no heart, right? They severed the heart from the man, right? Okay, they severed his heart out. What did they do during the Aztec time? But take out the heart, right? Okay, so now they severed the man from his heart and took his phallic, his manhood, right? And turned him into a bitch, right? Made him a bitch, right? Like they did the man bride, right? Of the abomination, right? Okay, well, he still has his phallic. He's just a hermaphrodite, right? Not hermaphrodite, but he's a Baphomet, right? Okay, so they're distributed around every nation, other nations, right? And they call it mythology, right? Now in Greek mythology, so you have Zeus, who you have Saturn, who the Saturnians, right? Who cut off the who supposedly the sun used to be the power, then the sun, the sun used to be Saturn used to be the power, then the sun became the power, or one of the sun used to be, the sun used to be like the Saturn used to be like the sun. This is the way the story goes. Okay, you can YouTube it. Okay, and then the sun took over, something like that. Okay, well, in mythology, okay, how it goes is, okay, the Uranus, okay, connects the constellations. Man's phallic, okay, yeah, the sun, well, I won't go there, I'll just stay here. The phallic is represented by Uranus. Man's phallic is represented by Uranus. Uranus is the planet that connects the 2 binary star systems, the male and the female. So the phallic of man would be Uranus, right? So if you cut Uranus off, if you cut his phallic off, then you're basically cutting off Uranus and placing the sun as, Saturn as the phallic of man, right? And really, Saturn is a female electromagnetic planet, right? Because you can see it's electromagnetic because it has all the gravity around it, right? But then now they put the electromagnetic on the head as to represent the phallic of the sun. So they're basically giving the sun a man, a vagina, right? Okay, so now, and they cast the sun away, right? Uranus away, and Uranus after Uranus is what? Neptune. After Neptune is Pisces, right? So put Uranus in Pisces, right? Put the phallic in Pisces, in the woman planet where it belongs, right? Okay, and man will never be the wiser, okay? Because this is time and eons and eons and eons ago, back to Osiris and Cyrus, right? So, but it's buried in mythology, right? Okay, because that would be Greek mythology, right? Where what? Cronus is decapitated by his son, right? By his Martian son, Cronus represents Cronus, I think, Cronus represents Uranus, right? He was dethroned by his son, okay? Dethroned by, so he would have been dethroned by, or cut off by, decapitated through time, right? 2,000 years. His years end, it will be Saturn's turn, right? Saturn end, it will be Zeus's turn, right? And then Zeus comes along and takes Saturn's place, right? And so therefore Zeus came along and it became the god of the next 2,000 years. So that's how they decapitate. But we'll go back to being the sun, okay? So when they divided when Set divided man, right? Saturn divided man, right? When he cut off Uranus, right? When he cut off when he divided the man into 14 pieces, when he divided Osiris into 14 pieces, right? And then he put the displaced the Saturn, displaced the Uranus, right? He cut off couldn't find the phallic, put it in Neptune, right? Put it in the woman, right? Where it's supposed to be, right? But man don't know it, okay? Because he can't feel nothing. He ain't got a heart, right? Okay, so he put it in Saturn, okay? Put it in Neptune, but Saturn replaced it, right? Because Saturn is in front of what? Saturn is in front of Uranus, right? So now it becomes a woman, right? Okay. So okay. I'm getting no. Okay. So it becomes a woman. I'll just stay there. Okay. So that's a part of Greek mythology and how the same story is told, but it's all coming from Egyptian mythology, as Egyptian mythology is coming from Babylon, as Babylon is coming from astrology, as astrology is coming from understanding the cosmos, as the positions and the creation and all of this kind of stuff, right? Okay, but the story is just told and told and told and retold again, so you don't even recognize it. And because it's been told so many times, black men don't even know his part, where his penis is, right? He don't even know where his penis is. Well, it's supposed to be in the woman, but he's been separated from the woman, right? He's been separated from Isis, right? He's been separated from his electromagnetic energy. Told she's a bitch. Told she's rough. She's too harsh. Okay? Okay. So, and then his other 14 parts, he can't regenerate himself to even put himself fighting his parts because what? It's been distributed through mythology. So he don't understand the mythology, so he don't recognize himself as his face is reflected to him in the Asian man. His face is reflected in him through the European man, but he can't recognize himself because he's constantly looking for his phallic, right? He's constantly looking for his manhood. But when he looks but he doesn't see that every man is a reflection of him, but he can't see himself because he's fragmented. He's been divided in so many different bodies, right, to represent so many different men, just like the universe was divided to represent the 13 constellations, and it's no longer one body. The black man is no longer one body. His consciousness was to remain distributed. His consciousness was to remain the same, though distributed among all bodies of man. Okay, because there's only one King of Kings. There's only one Word. There's only one divine Creator. One universe divided, but there's one universe and one universe of the way that it's supposed to function, right? So his consciousness was to be distributed, but not the body. But they distributed the body, meaning the consciousness. But by destroying his body, they destroyed the origins of where it came from, so that the black man wouldn't recognize his power within that system, or who he is and his authority in that system. So they give it to the Greeks under what? Under Greek mythology. They give that same story of creation to the Romans under Roman mythology and Roman gods, when it's all the same. You see what I'm saying? And European mythology, Otis and all this kind of stuff, Odin and all this kind of stuff. If America has mythology, it's in Christianity. Okay, but it's all the same thing. Okay, the story of the black man as his body was divided and reflected in all other men. But all other men think they are superior because they've been taught to think that way, so that they can hang on. Because now, when the consciousness is corrupted, then they're told, when they're given a piece of the body, okay, this got to be secret through secret societies, right? It's got to remain secret. They don't want the black man to know about his body's been distributed, his consciousness has been distributed, right? So when you look at some of the nursery rhymes, like Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock, the mouse ran up the clock says 12, that's erection. When the erection is up, the mouse goes down, the erection goes down. The dish running over rain with the spoon is the dish jumping over the spoon, the cow jumping over the moon jumping over the Kuiper belt and getting back to the sun, and the plate represents the sun. All of their little nursery rhymes are stories that are told about the constellations. That's mythology too, but it's so simple they don't tell you that. Okay, that's maintained. The truth of those nursery rhymes, those simple child kindergarten nursery rhymes, are given to children. So when they hear it again, they're telling the story of the universe, but the child don't know that. But the person who knows what those mythologies mean, so the story of the universe stays alive. But the black man don't know that. Okay, he just think they're childish little nursery rhymes. Okay, he don't know the true meaning behind them. That he is the one that that represents those bodies of spiritual consciousness. Okay, it's his consciousness, right? Okay, and then he's told to stay away from Neptune. Don't go to Neptune. But that's where its phallic is. It's in his heart. It's in Neptune. Okay, because it said it was eaten by catfish or pussyfish in the water, right? It's in the pussy. Okay, it's in that pussyfish. Okay, that's starfish. Okay, now, so if he wants to find his strength, he wants to resurrect his nation. Okay, then get with that pussy. Okay, stay with that pussyfoot, that catfish. Okay, so his body was divided among all those other nations. So when he's looking in a white man's face, he's looking in his own face. When he's looking at the mind of a white man and the white man's face himself, the body of a white man, he's looking at his own face. When he's looking at an Asian man, he's looking at his own face. He's looking at his own body. That's his body, because his body is the archetype. And when he's looking at the consciousness of the white man, he's looking at his own consciousness. It's a reflection of himself. Okay, but he don't see that because he can't find himself. He can't put himself together because the knowledge has been kept secret. It's been perverted through mythology. Okay, and and everybody's given their title. Well, this is Greek mythology. No, it's Egyptian mythology. It comes out of Kemet. And Kemet mythology comes out of universal thought, creation. It comes out of creation. Babylonian mythology comes out of creation. It's just mythology is corrupt spirituality. Okay, even astrology. Astrology is good, but they corrupt that too. When they broke it down, created the Julian calendar and broke it down to 12. Right? Okay. Okay, so we said it was 14 pieces and distributed throughout the 12 constellations, meaning the 12 nations. Okay, each nation represents just like when it says about the prophet, when Musa led the Hebrews, the Hebrews out of Egypt. Okay, when he led the people out of Egypt, and there were Egyptian people too, because the only family that went into Egypt was Prophet Abraham's grandchildren, okay, and his son Jacob. Jacob was his son, okay, not his grandson. Jacob was his son, and he had Joseph and 12 and other brothers, right? I think it was 12 sons, 12 brothers, 9 brothers, I don't know. But anyway, they went into Egypt, okay, and they didn't come out 44,000 and all this stuff, okay? It didn't happen. If they did, they came out black like all the other Egyptians, okay? He divided people among 12 tribes. Well, 12 constellations, right? Okay. Okay. And each knew where to drink, right? So when we're talking about 12 tribes, we're talking about 12, the zodiac signs, okay? When we're talking about the 12 apostles, we're talking about the 12 constellations, okay? As they represent each human being is born under a constellation sign, okay? From a house, right? As it represents their constellation, their celestial house. Okay, their celestial mansion. Okay, so there were 12 constellations, and each body part of the man, or of Osiris, when he was divided, represented a part of represented a piece of the constellation, a piece of the pie, right? A piece of the body, a piece of the body man, the black man, the African man, his consciousness, right? As it traveled through the land, becoming mythology, right? To which the black man couldn't even recognize his own mind, cannot recognize his own head, cannot recognize his own phallic, because a phallic is a part of the head too, because he can't see his phallic, okay? He can't see his phallic, is invisible. He can't see because it's been put, is in the belly of in the womb of, or the uterus, or the womb, or it's in the body of the female, right? A Neptune, right? Okay. He can't recognize his own consciousness because it's in the face of another. It's in the face of another. A European. It's in the face of a mythology, right? But it was distributed, right? Okay. And each part of his body represents a constellation, right? And each part has a purpose, right? Okay. And each part of the knowledge was given to different nations, okay? As the world or empires constructed themselves, they constructed themselves on the same knowledge, right? That was also instituted in Egypt, right? Okay. Now, so his body was divided into 12 mythologies, or 12 nations, or 12 constellations, right? Given to 12 constellations to reflect the universe, right? Okay, that's what Set did. He divided it. He divided man's body, as only Saturn could divide, right? Because it has that big old blade out there, right? It can cut up the body, right? Because it has that blade going around and around and around, and those rings, right? That's why it's Lord of the Rings, right? Because it has that blade. That those rings represent a blade, so it cut up the body using its blade. Saturn cut up the body, right, and distributed. So Saturn acted as God, dividing the universe, right, into 14 pieces, right? The sun being the 14th piece, right? Okay, and the sun being the head, right? And that's why they worship the sun, because the sun represents the head of consciousness, right? The phallic represents the little head, to regenerate the nation, right? Okay. So he couldn't regenerate it. Osiris couldn't regenerate himself because he couldn't find his Uranus. He couldn't find his anus, right? He couldn't find Uranus. He couldn't find his anus, right? He couldn't find his ass, but that's what they say. But that's not what we want to say. He couldn't find his phallic because Uranus represents a phallic, right? Because it's an electrical planet, right? Okay. And I believe it's masculine too. Or at least it should be. It is masculine. Okay, so he can't find his anus, he can't find his Uranus, he can't find his planet. Okay, so but it's in the female. Okay, and that's why we have the Baphomet, the gold Mendes, representing Osiris in the upside down body, or the symbol that represents the female body, right? That gold in there represents Osiris trapped in the woman's body, right? He's trapped in there. Okay, because he can't get out. That man represents his penis trapped in the woman's body, right? Okay, and okay. Now they got two females, right? Representing the man as a female too, right? Okay, an upside down female, right? And the female, right? Okay, okay. Now, okay, so we got 12, he divided 12 pieces, divided throughout the world, right, through mythology, right, through 12 constellation, no phallic, right, he can't recognize himself, right, because of the mythology, right, he can't regenerate himself, he can't regenerate power because he can't find his phallic, okay, he can't regenerate himself, he can't, no erection, right, he can't resurrect himself, right, because he has no phallic, right, okay, so, and that's why they're waiting for their beastly head to come so they can resurrect Babylon, right? Resurrect him with using who? The wife of Baphomet, right? Okay. Okay. So the 12 constellations, okay, and each, okay, and as I said, each were to represent a body, reflect a body part, okay? A god, which is in reality, okay, what we said, the 13, the constellation was really divided in 13, with the pieces, with the sun being the 14th piece. That's why Set divided it into 14 pieces. Saturn supposedly divided the man body, Osiris, into 14 pieces and distributed like the universe divided. Man became the pie, right? By which all the world is consuming, right? He became the pie. Okay, the blackberry pie. Okay, the pie from the sky. Okay, now, so, as we said, okay, now, so in reality there are 13 constellations, as I now know, with the sun as just one. The sun is just the head, right? The sun is the head of the whole body man, right? Okay, the sun is the head of the constellation, right? One of the heads, meaning the woman is a head too, right? So the mythology is told there, okay, as the mythology is told. So Mother Isis, okay, the female representative, the black hole, right? She went and found all 14 pieces. She found all 13 pieces except for his phallic, right? And from which is phallic, she can't rise again. There's no resurrection until he finds his phallic. There's no resurrection for the black man until he finds his phallic. Look inside your woman. That's where your phallic is, inside of Neptune. That's where your phallic is. Your phallic is in Neptune, inside the woman. Get your phallic and resurrect yourself. Re-erect. Get your erection going on again. Build your nation. Okay, build your mind, de-stress, because you got a lot of stress in you. You can't discharge, right? You can't discharge properly because you did. Well, let me go to video 10. So I'm gonna go, or video 10, yeah. So I'm gonna